All right, we move on now to hypertrophy, trying to build bigger muscles. Now look, you probably heard at some point, you don't need to get sore in order to build big muscles. And while that is absolutely true, at some point, you're gonna have to, because you're gonna dry up with how much weight you can actually continue to load to the bar. Metabolic training alone, which we're going to talk about, is going to, at some point, become limited in its ability to overload your muscles because of the lighter weights that you use to perform those exercises. So at some point, to continue the growth and the gains coming, you're going to need to explore an eccentrically overloaded exercise option. And that is why I want to load you guys and arm you guys with the right one. And this right here is the eccentric floor fly. Now what we're doing is we're actually trying to eccentrically overload the chest. And we can do that with a fly. However, as I've said many times before, to protect the health of our shoulder, we don't unnecessarily have to get up onto a bench to perform the exercise. We can perform it on the floor and have the floor act as our safety net. The great thing is though, because we know we have a safety net for our shoulders, we can do this exercise with a lot heavier weight than we might usually use when we do a bench version of this. You probably heard people tell you, don't go heavy on the fly and you'll be okay. How about if we want to go heavy to create more eccentric overload? Don't worry about the fact that you're not flying back to the top. We'll cover the adduction in our later exercise selections. Get to the top and overload and lower slowly on every rep. Cheat the positive back up to the top by altering the position of your arms. And this exercise will be an absolute winner for you when it comes to creating that eccentric muscle damage and ultimately more growth. So by doing it on the floor, what we're able to do is get in the same position, almost simulate the same amount of depth, because we can arch the low back here this way, keep the butt in contact with the ground, shoulder blades pinched together, chest out, keep the elbows bent again, but now we have that pretty decent depth here, but we've got a bottom point. We've got a safety net underneath us here that allows us to not, even if we had to, dump it down without having to risk the injury to the front side of the shoulder or the pec itself. So we can do the fly in this manner.